To mnie szczerze mega interesuje. Kojarzycie Elden Ringa? No jak mnie oglądacie, to na pewno. Być może kojarzycie taką grę, troszkę już z zamierzchłych czasów, jak Morrowind, The Elder Scrollsy, legendarne, gra Bethesdy, ciepło wspominana przez wielu, uważana za znacznie lepszą niż następcę, czyli Obliviona, który zresztą niedawno miał swój remake. I ktoś przeniósł Morrowinda do Elden Ringa na silnik normalnie gry From Software, wpierdzielił tam Morrowinda i zamierza go tworzyć, zamierza go robić. Fani gier Bethesdy są niemożliwi. Czego oni nie wymyślą? Morrowind, stara gierka, kiedy ona wyszła, kurde? 2002, ta gra jest młodsza o rok ode mnie. Także fajnie, że coś takiego się dzieje. Jestem ciekawy, jak to wygląda. Dawaj.
Hello there, guys, and
Zobacz
welcome
to.
to
Normalnie
Morrowind.
ze stoją postacie Eldenowe, ja
say to me to
pierdzielę.
be more
A
specific.
teksturki?
Please ignore the big pink markers as well. It's a debug thing. So let's take a little
Co
jaunt
jest
over to
grane,
Balmora
stary?
while I explain what I've been working on for the past few months. So yeah, this is an
Miesiące już.
actual real mod that I've been putting together for quite a while.
Jak to wyjdzie
I'll get
całe,
into the technical
to
details
to
of it a little
ogrywamy
bit
na
later,
pewno.
but the gist of this is Morrowind running in the Elden Ring engine.
grane?
This project is not finished yet, but I'd wager it's just about halfway done at this point, though that
To
can
wygląda jak jakieś AI praktycznie, nie? Jak masz te wszystkie low resolution teksturki Morrowinda i nagle biegnącego zupełnie out of place, chyba astrologa klasę, tak? Z Eldena. Piękna sprawa. Mam nadzieję, że wraz z tym modem i z ogarnięciem wszystkich takich aspektów technicznych pojawi się też upscale, nie? Żeby te wszystkie teksturki trochę przerysować. Może ten mod się rozszerzy o nowych ludzi. Nie wiem, będzie coś na skalę Skybliviona, który też niesłychanie popularnym projektem jest.
be kind of difficult to gauge with a project of this scale. I've actually had this mod in the background for quite a while now. I was originally targeting the Dark Souls 1 engine, but found that it could not handle how dense the Morrowind mainland was. We then ported this project to Dark Souls 3, where it just barely fit within the world loading restrictions.
Ty, ale tak zupełnie szczerze, w Dark Souls 3 jakoś, nie wiem, nawet lepiej to chyba wygląda. Taki szczegół. No ale jeżeli techniczne ograniczenia tutaj powodują problemy, no to nie ma co.
Because of that, I can actually show you a side-by-side of what Morrowind looks like in both the Elden Ring
Bardziej
and Dark
zmatowiony
Souls 3
taki,
engine.
kurde.
Moving the project to
Gra
Elden
słów
Ring was
mocna,
actually a
ale no.
very recent move as well. The community tools for modding Elden Ring have advanced a lot in the past few years, and well, Elden Ring is just a better game than Dark Souls 3. And
Technicznie
here we
pewnie
are in
tak.
the beautiful city of Balmora. For the rest of this video, I'm going to break this down into like a Q&A style section, as I think that would be the best way to talk about this project. So here
Poka
we go.
to. Dlaczego?
Morrowind is one of my favorite games of all time, but god
Dla wielu ludzi Morrowind jest jedną z ich ulubionych gier, jeśli nie ulubioną. To była bardzo ciekawa produkcja, bo ona też bazowała na tym rzucie kostką przy praktycznie każdej decyzji. Dużo takich dziwnych z perspektywy czasu mechanik, ale jednak wyróżniających tę grę. Bardzo jestem ciekawy, czy kiedyś wyjdzie oryginalny od Bethesdy remake, no bo Oblivion naprawdę fajnie się sprzedał i ludziom się to podobało, a dużo wcale tam nie zmienili. Tak naprawdę głównie graficzny update to był. I jestem ciekawy, czy Morrowind zasłuży na takie traktowanie w przyszłości, no bo też pewnie darmowe pieniądze to będą do podniesienia z ziemi dla Bethesdy.
damn is it dated. So my goal here is to try and combine the world and lore of Morrowind with the combat of a Souls game. Basically just taking the best parts of both and slapping them together into a common fruit and scrib jelly sandwich. It also just seemed like an interesting project to work on. When I started fiddling with this idea, I wasn't sure if it was even feasible to complete. But the further I got into it, the more possible it started to look. Until eventually I just decided, why not? Let's just go for it. Like, I think it's possible.
To jest niesamowity upgrade już w tym momencie, jak patrzysz na Morrowinda, którego mieliśmy tutaj przed chwilą na ekranie. O, no to, to już będzie coś pięknego dla graczy. To tak, bez względu na to, jak to ostatecznie będzie wyglądało. Does this video have a really awesome and cool sponsor? Oho.
Well, by golly, it sure does. Today's video is sponsored by boot.dev.
Właśnie, jak
World
proces?
generation is basically finished.
Okej.
The best way to
Świat
demonstrate
zrobiony.
this is to climb to the top of Red Mountain and just look out over the entirety of Morrowind. It's all there. But that really only shows that it's finished on a more macro scale. I'd like to point out some of the smaller details as well. Each region of the map actually has distinct weather and lighting data. For example, the ashlands are gray and overcast, while the bitter coast is a
A
more
zajebiście to
colorful,
wygląda jeszcze z
swampy
tymi
area that tends to get
skyboxami,
a bit more
kurde,
rain. And of
prześlicznie.
course, the Red Mountain area is just covered in blight storms. I've also modernized the water for Morrowind, which was insanely complicated, but the results are wonderful. And this
Zobacz, taka
extends
rzecz, nie? Woda. Ludzie o tym nie myślą, ale ile tam jest programowania, ile tam jest myślenia nad tym, jak postać będzie z tym wszystkim reagować. To jest porąbane, jak każdy drobny, malutki szczególik gry musi być przejrzany, sprawdzony, zmodyfikowany tak, żeby faktycznie ci działał w każdej możliwej sytuacji. Tworzenie gier jest popieprzenie trudne,
Beyond
zwłaszcza
just
takich w trójwymiarze, wiesz, pełnym.
Since this is a From Software game, I was obligated to convert Morrowind's regular old swamps into poison swamps.
Okej.
I like to call this Poisonous Swamp Manifest Destiny. The lava was also regenerated, and it looks a lot nicer. Another thing that is mostly finished is lighting and world effects.
Ładnie to
Currently, the
wygląda, ty,
lighting
z
looks
tym
a little bit
światłem
blown out as
punktowym.
I am just converting the data one to one, which is technically correct, but no. It absolutely needs some processing done on it that I just haven't looked into yet. World emitters are pretty much in the same boat as they are effectively half finished. Each individual type of world emitter has to be remapped into an Elden Ring FXR. Most of these are really straightforward though. Candles are remapped to candles, fire is remapped to fire, blue candle is remapped to candle that I tinted blue. There are a couple I haven't messed with yet though, like steam vents. The systems I've built are absolutely able to handle it, I just haven't spent the time organizing all that data.
Czyli tak naprawdę on już brzmi nawet, jakby wiedział, że on to zrobi, tylko jeszcze trochę czasu potrzebuje. Stary, nie mogę się doczekać, aż to wyjdzie.
Interiors are also mostly finished as they use nearly identical
Optymistycznie
code to
to
the
bardzo
overworld
brzmi.
generation. There is a
No też niesamowitą miał dowolność dla gracza i Elden Ring też właśnie w tym jest zbieżny, że on miał tą niesamowitą dowolność, więc to wiele rzeczy, wiele systemów, wiele takich samych ideowych konceptów gry jest tutaj zgodnych, ale jedna sprawa z Morrowindem jest tak, że to też nie jest nie wiadomo jak skomplikowana i powalona gra pod kątem ilości szczegółów, ilości NPC-ów i tak dalej, więc jesteś w stanie nie aż takim effortem tę grę do tego Elden Ringa przenieść, nie? To nie jest coś takiego, jakbyś chciał Skyrima tu nagle postawić, no różnica jest duża.
issue with load doors right now that I thought I'd share. It seems that when Morrowind teleports a player through a load door, they use the player's hip bone as their root, while Elden Ring grabs players by their feet instead. This means that when you go through a load door, you're about 3 feet higher than you should be and you fall down a bit. This isn't a problem unless there's a low ceiling and then you just clip straight into it and get stuck. Beautiful. Obviously, this is a bug I can fix with like one line of code, but I found it while working on the video, so I haven't patched it yet, and I thought I'd share because it's entertaining.
Piękne są takie smaczki.
thing that is
Dlatego właśnie potrzebujesz testerów albo samemu bardzo dużo pograć w gierkę, sprawdzić każdą sytuację i zobaczyć, czy takie rzeczy nie będą się działy. Bo czasem są to śmieszne bugi, a czasami są to bugi, które totalnie game breakują.
So I haven't patched it yet, and I thought I'd share because it's entertaining. Another thing that is partially finished is dialogue generation. When I say partially finished, I basically mean that all the dialogue is loaded, but none of the scripting data is. So every possible topic of conversation
Ty zobacz,
is
jak sprytnie wykorzystany, kurde, system wyboru właśnie menu do jakiegoś handlu czy coś, jak z reguły w Eldenie był. Zarąbiście.
currently present for each individual NPC. Funnily enough, this means that if you ask an NPC about Dagoth Ur or Red Mountain, they're just like, oh yeah, you killed that guy, right? So I guess I've already beaten the game. World first. Easy. I've also implemented the systems needed to have voice acting as well, but for now, all dialogue lines just play a sound effect of a page turning, as voice acting is one of the last things I'll be doing for this mod.
Będzie voice acting.
I was just
nice.
curious if it was technically possible, and it looks like it should be. You may have also noticed that every single NPC so far is just default girl woman, and in addition to that, every non-human
trzeba będzie
NPC
modele
is replaced with
pozmieniać.
a goat. I did this because I wanted to make sure the game engine could handle the bulk of Morrowind's characters, but without actually having to go and map out every single enemy spawn. This did prove to have some issues, which I will get into later, but for the most part, it does work. And that's basically where the project is right now.
Też jest fajne od strony właśnie takiego laika, jak ja sobie zobaczyć, jak gość to tworzy, no bo widać, że jakkolwiek się zna, no ja bym czegoś takiego nie upiścił, nie? Więc na pewno gość wie więcej. I sobie zobaczyć, że on właśnie stawia jakieś template'y i potem je podmienia, na razie testując tak naprawdę możliwości i ograniczenia silnika, nie? Fajna sprawa, zerknąć na to od zaplecza.
Put it in as few words as possible, the world is there,
Ale
but
super
it's
to
completely
wygląda,
devoid
ty.
of actual gameplay.
Aren't you afraid of getting sued? Again?
Ponownie
Yes,
pozwany,
well,
czyżby?
This part of the
Nie
video
wiedziałem
goes
nawet, że
out
był.
directly to the Bethesda lawyers that are watching right now. You can just go ahead and stop writing that very threatening email because this project does not violate any copyright whatsoever. How do I explain this? Have you ever heard of a mod called A Tale of Two Wastelands? It was a mod for Fallout New Vegas that converts the Fallout 3 game files into an add-on for New Vegas, so you could play both Fallout games at the same time. In order to install it though, you had to buy both games and install them both first. My mod works basically the same way.
Okej, czyli musisz kupić Morrowinda i kupić Elden Ringa, żeby zmodować Morrowinda do Elden Ringa. Zrobił w taki sposób tego moda. Ej, to jest genialny sposób na ominięcie tego pozwu. Super to wymyślił i faktycznie wspierasz oryginalnego twórcę gry. Mimo że, wiesz, ludzie zagrają w to gdzie indziej, no to jednak kupują tą kopię, a na tym firmie na koniec dnia najbardziej zależy. Zajebiste, nie słyszałem o czymś takim w ogóle. Fajny koncept.
My software reads the Morrowind game files, does a bunch of math on them, and then outputs Elden Ring game files. The project itself does not include any of Morrowind's data in it. It requires the user to have that data in order to create the mod for them. And it is also open source.
Na Morrowinda też chyba idzie dostać za jakieś grosze, nie? Czy ja sprawdzę, kurde, za ile na przykład na takim instancie, jeśli jest Morrowind. Teraz go nie ma, ale normalnie, no kurde, jest za 18 zł, stary. No to błagam.
So if you want to go check, then be my guest.
Dzięki, Tomski.
What about From Software? Are you worried about that?
Nie, a From Software na
No,
luzie.
because they're based as fuck.
No.
Take note, Bethesda. You could learn something.
So when is it coming out?
O,
That
dobre
actually
pytanie.
depends on you, my dear viewer. I like working on this project, and I would like to keep working on it. But I also need to know if this is what people want me to be spending my time on.
To jest zajebiste.
YouTube is effectively my full-time job, and if I'm going to spend 6 months building a mod, I need to know that's what my viewers actually want me to do. I imagine you can all probably infer from what I've shown that this is not simple stuff. This is the result of thousands of hours of research and code work fueled by Adderall and caffeine.
Szanuję.
So yeah,
że
if you
mu się
want to
chce.
support this and make this actually happen, do all those YouTube social media things. Hit the button, share the video,
Od
check out
razu
my
subskrybuję, od razu
Patreon,
daję
etc.,
łapę w górę. Jak to mam się
Aside from
przyczynić,
that,
chociaż
though,
tak to.
the only things really holding this project back are that I need a couple of other modders to help me out with some specific things.
What do you need help
Oho,
with?
pomoc.
There are currently 3 big things that are outside my skill set for modding that I need assistance with. The first issue is something I call the C0 limit. In Elden Ring, every character has an ID that ranges from C0 to C9999. This includes the player character, which is C0, and of course, C0 is special. While most characters are just a single model, C0 is like Voltron. It's made up of multiple different parts, being armor and weapons and face data. So while you can spawn in 1,000 goats and have no issues, Elden Ring has some arbitrary limits on the number of C0 characters you can have loaded at the same time. The limit actually goes back as far as Dark Souls 1, as I ran into this same issue when working on the Remastered mod. Regardless, this limit has to be fixed for this mod to work. Morrowind has over 2,000 humanoid characters.
O, dobra, ty, ja jak gadałem o tym, że Morrowind nie jest aż taki duży, to pierdolnąłem się chyba jednak. Zwracam honor.
And in some areas like Vivek City and Balmora, it exceeds the hidden C0 limit, and some of them just fail to load in. This particular problem requires reverse engineering work, which I am absolutely useless at.
Trzeba by było zmienić totalnie, kurde, możliwości tego silnika chyba, nie? Pod kątem wczytywania, albo postać C0 zamienić na pojedynczy model właśnie jakoś,
So it's something I will
żeby
need
to
help with.
dało radę.
I've talked with a couple different people about this problem, and from what I understand about it, it's very likely fixable. It just requires a very specific skill set to actually make that happen. The
Słuchajcie
second
widzowie, jak ktoś z was się zna na takich rzeczach, to piszcie do typa, nie?
issue is another reverse engineering thing, nav mesh generation. My friend Nord has been poking at this for a while, and he's made some progress on it, but we've yet to get it to actually work. Nav meshes are basically just simple 3D meshes that AI use to navigate around terrain. Every map in Elden Ring basically consists of 3 layers. A pretty visual mesh for you to look at, a simplified collision mesh to do physics on, and then an even simpler nav mesh for AI to do pathfinding on. The issue is we don't have the tools to build nav meshes, and without nav meshes, AI just doesn't work right.
No tak,
I am
muszą
confident
widzieć te
that it's
wszystkie
possible to fix
powierzchnie.
this problem as well,
Na pewno
but
da
it's
się to
beyond my
naprawić.
skill set to really help with it. And the third issue is the complete opposite of the previous 2. I really need some 3D artists. One of the things that I can't directly convert from Morrowind to Elden Ring is the armor and clothing. I mean, I could probably do it, but it would just look absolutely horrendous. This also applies to enemies as well. So what I
Kurde, jakby się dało z teksturek Eldenowych porobić jakieś armory do Morrowinda, wykorzystać to wszystko, co From Software zrobiło, albo zachować ten styl, no to by mogło fajnie też troszeczkę, chociaż w jakimś procencie zremasterować tę grę, nie? Fajne by to było.
really like is to have a couple of 3D artists that make modern renditions
3D
of the
artyści
Morrowind clothing and
potrzebni.
armor to
To
use
ci się
in
na
this
pewno
mod.
znajdą.
I
Z
kind of
poprzednimi
low-key
trudniej.
love the designs of Morrowind's robes, and it would just be amazing to see them done justice in the Elden Ring engine. And for enemies, what I'd like to do is make reskins of Elden Ring's enemies and bosses to sort of Morrowind-defy them. For example, it would be fucking amazing to reskin Horelu as Dagoth-Ur. And all you'd have to do is add a mask to his head, change the color of his skin, and recolor his pants. And then biblically accurate Dagoth-Ur could canonically suplex you into the ground. But yeah, that is pretty much it. There is, of course, plenty of potential for unforeseen
Ty,
issues
ale
to
to on naprawdę niedużo pomocy potrzebuje, ile ten gość sam ogarnął. Piękna sprawa.
appear, but that goes
Wow.
without saying, as every mod is at risk of that happening. I've done a fair bit of research on what remaining work is left, and from what I can tell, everything I want to do is possible. It really just comes down to the number of hours it's going to take to build it all out. And if any of those three things I listed are things that you think you could help with and want to, there will be a Discord link in the description for like a collaboration space of some kind. So check it out.
So what is left for you to do?
Assuming the problems I listed above get solved, first
Kurde, to audio do pytań brzmi totalnie jak ten, nie? Z Faith'a, Unholy Trilogy.
thing is going to
Some
be writing
Trinity.
a sort of interpreter for Morrowind's Papyrus script to be able to cross-compile it into Elden Ring's EVVD script. That is going to be very difficult, but I am confident that I can do it. In tandem with that, I will also have to implement variable checks into the dialogue system, which is going to be equally difficult. After that, I will have to begin parsing and placing static items and container loot so that key items can be obtained and turned in for quests. At which point, the main quest should be mostly playable. Once
Właśnie to jest to, nie? Żeby dobrze progresować questline'y, żeby dobrze wszystko rejestrowało tak naprawdę twój postęp w grze. No to może być dość wymagające, ale jak już ogarniesz system do tego, to tylko przypasować to do danych opcji, nie? Których pewnie jest multum,
at that
ale no.
point, I will probably remap characters, and honestly, I'll
Zbudować
probably
fundamenty do
hand place
tego.
most of the enemies in the game world. I could use the Morrowind spawn points, but for things to play well, I will probably want to go through and plonk down dudes and bosses myself one at a time. I may also want to adjust some areas to make boss fights fit better. Morrowind interiors can be kind of cramped, so if I want to have a boss fight at the end of a dungeon or something, I may have to expand a few rooms to make it play well. Additionally, at the moment, I think the world scale is maybe a little too small. The entire project actually has a singular scaling factor, so I can change it pretty easily. I just haven't decided what scale to use yet. But yeah, once I finish with all of that, the mod would be playable in full. This is where I'd want to go through and flesh out mechanics more. I'd want to do things like add alchemy ingredients so you can craft potions, have shops in different cities with unique items to sell, and of course I'd also want to add some spells to the game like water walking and levitate, because it's really not
Do
Morrowind.
tego moderzy też się na pewno znajdą, no bo mamy masę modów w Eldenie, nie? Jak jakiś Garden of Ice, Convergence, które robią takie rzeczy, więc znaleźliby się pewnie ludzie chętni albo na pewno umiejętni na tyle. Pojemni wiedzą, żeby to ogarnąć.
Unless you have levitate.
Elden ma
That
super
pretty much
możliwości.
describes the whole roadmap for this project. It's a lot to do, but it's well within the realm of possibility.
Oh, bro, that's not really a question, is it?
So yeah, it's about time to wrap things up. I'm curious what you guys are going to think of this project, and if you want to hear me talk about it in more detail, I'll have a longer video on my second channel where I go into like technical stuff. Oh, and I can't forget, a big thanks to Dropoff, 12th Avenger, Hork, TKGP, VSwart, The Fifth Mat, Ivy, and of course, Nord. Because sometimes you need someone to remind you to put a .dds at the end of a file name. And yeah, that's all. I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Genialne. Jezu, na pewno będę to ogrywał jak wyjdzie. Dajcie znać widzowie z YouTube'a też oglądający to, co o tym myślicie. I zgłaszajcie się jak coś umiecie. Każda para rąk może przyspieszyć proces i zwiększyć szansę na jego powodzenie, nie? Ale zajebiste. Mega fajne. Ile gość już zrobił tak naprawdę i widać, że on ogarnia w chuj. Więc ja bym się nie martwił.